can confirm that it is related to an anti-satellite capability that Russia is developing. This is not an active capability that's been deployed. And though Russia's pursuit of this particular capability is troubling, there is no immediate threat to anyone's safety. We are not talking about a weapon that can be used to attack human beings or cause physical destruction here on Earth.
That was White House National Security Communications Advisor John Kirby confirming the potential Russian threat to U.S. national security, saying that there is no immediate threat. Tennessee Congressman Andy Ogles sending a letter to Speaker Mike Johnson asking him to investigate Intelligence Chairman Mike Turner's decision to warn the public about this potential Russian threat. Ogles writing, quote, "It has become clear that the intent was not to ensure the safety of our homeland and the American people, but rather to ensure additional funding for Ukraine and the passage of the unreformed Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act." Joining me right now is Tennessee Congressman Chuck Fleischmann, a member of the House Appropriations and Space, Science and Technology Committees. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Your reaction to all of this, and where do you sit in this debate?
Well, Maria, as you know, in my view, Russia has become a very bad actor on the international stage. This is so reminiscent of the former Soviet Union, their tactics, their lies, their aggression. They are a bad actor in the neighborhood. I will say this. I can't go into details on the specifics of the briefing, but Russia is dangerous. Russia is breaking treaties. Russia has American legislators, including myself, other Republicans and other Democrats, on a list that if we were to go there, we'd be arrested as criminals. This is intolerable. It's destabilizing. And we live in a nuclear world. We cannot have a situation where we have an aberrant actor like Putin and Russia doing these things. The world needs to stand up and say no. The United States needs to stand up and say no to Putin and their aggression.
Yeah, no, I fully understand, Congressman, but let's be clear. There are a lot of bad actors right now that the U.S. is faced with, right? I mean, Russia is a bad actor.
Absolutely.
China is a really bad actor. And the open border in and of itself is a really bad actor because we don't know half of the people coming into this country. We've had 50 people on the terrorist watch list just, in the last year. They only needed 19 terrorists to take down the Twin Towers in New York. So we got a lot of bad actors out there. What I'm wondering now is why Mike Turner is making this the priority rather than the Republicans digging in to secure the border already.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more, Maria. We have an incompetent actor in the White House who's basically incentivized an open border, great threat to the United States, horrific threat to the American people. Over 11 million people here. We don't know who all is here and what we're going to do with that, even once we get Joe Biden out of the White House and put Donald Trump back in. Having said that, not all of these bad actors are nuclear powers. Russia is, China is. God forbid if Iran ever gets there. North Korea probably is already there. So we've got to basically look at all of the bad actors. I think it's an all of the above. But when we see the Russian aggression, not only in Georgia that took place in 2015, but now in Ukraine and the devastation and the potential destabilization, I mean, they're literally, it's my understanding that Putin's #1 adversary has passed away in prison today. We don't know the exact details of that. Navalny, I read that this morning. So the point is we have got to have a commander-in-chief in the White House that will deal with this threat. We've got to have a Congress that will deal with this threat. And I think we're doing this on the Intelligence Committee. We're doing this on the Appropriations Committee. I'm doing this in funding our great nation's nuclear arsenal through the NNSA and the Department of Energy. So all Americans need to step up, and we need an American foreign policy, not Republican, not Democrat. Put America first, lead with America, but stand up to thugs and tyrants. And that's what we've got in Russia right now.
Yeah, well, you're right. The breaking news, which we reported about 10 minutes ago, is that Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny is dead. He has now died in prison. We know this was one of the major opponents to Vladimir Putin, and now he is dead.